Backing up Qlik Sense directories is the least complicated part of the backup process, but there's still nuances that could cause issues during the recovery process. Let's get started and see what directories to back up, which files can cause issues during the recovery process, and what to do about them. There are 4 core directories where Qlik Sense stores apps, extensions, logs, configuration files, and other things. Plus, if you're using a standalone installation of PostgreSQL, there's a 5th directory that needs to be backed up to make sure that all PostgreSQL configurations and settings are also backed up. Let's take a look at them one by one, starting with the shared root folder. The shared root folder is the folder that mainly holds Qlik Sense apps, extensions, app contents like images and data files used in apps. It also holds contents of content libraries, server logs, and a few other things. This is a critical folder to back up. There's no default directory for this folder, but you can find exactly where it's located by going to QMC and then going to this service cluster section. This root folder property shows the location where the shared root folder is located. As a rule of thumb, I back up everything in this folder. Next is the Qlik folder that's inside ProgramData Folder. This folder largely contains the logs of your Qlik Sense server. In addition to that, if you're using a bundled installation of PostgreSQL, this folder also contains configuration files for your PostgreSQL server. Plus, if you have exported some certificates or apps, they will also be located in the ProgramData Qlik folder. This folder is not as critical as the shared root folder, but it's also very important to back up if you don't want to lose your server logs and bundled PostgreSQL configuration files. Next is the Qlik folder that's inside the program files, common files folder. This one. This folder contains configuration files for your data connections. If you made some changes to the data connection configurations, you'll want to back up this folder to make sure that those changes won't be lost in the server recovery. Next is the Qlik folder that's inside the program files folder. This one contains a whole lot of things, but the things we're interested in are the Qlik Sense configuration files. For example, if your Qlik Sense server has task reload management enabled in the hub, that would be controlled within the configuration files located in this folder. A good amount of Qlik Sense server configurations are done in the files that are in this Qlik folder. So backing up this folder will ensure that you won't lose those configurations and need to reconfigure your server from scratch after the recovery. Lastly, if your Qlik Sense server is using standalone PostgreSQL server, the configuration files of PostgreSQL will also need to be backed up. By default, they will be located in program files, PostgreSQL, the version number folder, and then in this data folder. If you open up this folder, you'll see the pghba, pgident, and postgresql.conf files. These 3 files will need to be backed up to make sure that the PostgreSQL configurations will be preserved. So these are the 4 to 5 core directories that need to be backed up during the server backup. And to back up these directories, all you need to do is stop all Qlik Sense services, copy the folder that needs to be backed up, then go wherever you store your Qlik Sense backups and paste the folder there. Let's do that. I'll go ahead and use the PowerShell script we created earlier to stop all Qlik Sense services, including the repository database service. Okay, now that the Qlik Sense services are stopped, let's go ahead and copy the shared root folder and paste it to the backup storage directory. There. Simple as that. Let's wait for it to finish. Okay, so that's done. Now all you have to do is copy the rest of the folders. Also, if you have data files or PDFs or images that you use for your Qlik Sense apps that you store in some other folders, make sure to copy those directories as well. I'll go ahead and copy or back up the rest of the folders. Okay, so all of the required Qlik Sense directories are backed up. The next step is critical. During the Qlik Sense recovery, these folders are copied to the new server, which normally overwrites existing files. For most files, that's fine. However, there are 11 configuration files that must not be overwritten when recovering to a new server. For example, this repository exe.config file. It came from program files, Qlik Sense repository folder. If you open up this file and scroll down, you'll see that it contains this cipher value. This cipher value holds encrypted credentials and other details of Qlik Sense repository database. The important thing is that this encrypted value can only be decrypted on the original server where it was created. If you restore this file on a new server and overwrite the existing one, the recovery will fail because the new server cannot decrypt this value. But at the same time, these backed up files contain important configurations that we do need to transfer to the new server. So how do we transfer configurations but not overwrite the cipher value? Well, we do that by renaming the backed up versions of these files in the backup storage directory. For clarity, do not rename the original files on the Qlik Sense server. We only rename the copies in the backup folder. Let's do that now. So here's my backed up repository configuration file. I'll right-click it, select the rename option, and add the original server name to the file name. This will prevent overwriting of the new server's configuration files during the recovery. Now, since this file is renamed during the recovery process, you and I will need to manually open up both renamed backed up file and the new server's config file and copy over all settings except for the encrypted cipher value. This will recover the original configurations without breaking the recovered server. Key takeaway here is that there's 11 specific files that must be renamed in a backup directory to avoid recovery failures. The full list of these files and their locations is in the description of this video. And once all the files, all 11 files are renamed, the directory backup is complete. Okay, so those are the directories to be backed up and the steps we need to take to make sure that recovery process goes well. The whole directory backup process is really just shutting down Qlik Sense services, copying folders, and renaming a handful of config files. The hardest part is knowing which folders to copy and which files to rename. And now you know that.